Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This is the second video in my project to document as many birds as possible on my home patch in eastern Massachusetts in 2024. What I'd like to start with for this episode is actually quite an unusual bird for my home patch, which is a red-throated loon. So this bird showed up just a couple of days ago on the main pond, and unfortunately it just spent the whole day swimming around out in the middle of the pond. And this pond is big enough so that when birds are out in the middle, it's hard to get good quality photography and video of them. So I did get this picture here with my 500 millimeter lens. And then actually, if we crop and zoom in, you can get a pretty good look at the bird. It's actually kind of amazing how well you can crop into these images with the modern sensors on the cameras today and still have something that's recognizable. So red-throated loon is bird number 19. So as a reminder, I'm going to be counting only the birds that I'm able to show in the videos. So this is bird number 19, meaning that in episode 1 we had 18 birds so far. So moving on to something a little more common, we have a northern cardinal perching up nicely on this branch here. Cardinals are very common here. They're a really common feeder bird everywhere in most of the country, actually, but they really are beautiful birds. And so I wanted to make sure I got a shot of them for this video series that would show them off well. Next bird after that is kind of interesting. These are actually a pair of fish crows. And fish crows are relatively unusual in Massachusetts, certainly a lot less common than the regular American crows. I know these are fish crows because just before I started this video segment here, they were flying around and calling, and their call is very different from an American crow. Fortunately, once they landed on these concrete strips here and I started videoing, they were completely silent. So I thought I was going to have to say, well, you're just going to have to take my word for it. But then actually, a couple days later, I came across a fish crow that was perched up in a tree off of the path and was calling continuously. So you can hear its high-pitched, kind of almost comical cawing sound here. As a comparison, here's an American crow also perched in a tree and calling, and you can hear what I think is really a much more familiar sound of the American crow, quite different from the fish crow. Okay, next up is this golden-crowned kinglet. Kinglets are small, very active birds that are hard to photograph and certainly hard to video, so it's nice to run into one that was not moving around too much, and I was able to get some video of it. Really cute little birds. They've been very common here at Horn Pond all winter. They'll be leaving soon, so I was glad to get this video clip of them before they do leave. This male northern pintail was a nice surprise. This is another bird that's not too common at Horn Pond. We usually get maybe 2, 3, 4 sightings a year. Seems like we get the females a lot more than the males, and the females are quite drab. And males, of course, as you can see, are quite handsome birds, so this was nice to see. These mute swans are a breeding pair. They've been breeding here every year for the past several years in this lagoon, and you can tell they're getting ready to breed because they're getting very aggressive and very territorial, particularly against the Canada geese. They have a particular dislike of Canada geese, it seems, and they're often chasing them around, and they'll hiss at the geese, they'll hiss at people, and pretty soon I think we'll see them, see the female sitting on a nest. So this next bird was kind of a fun experience. So people do feed birds by hand a lot at Horn Pond. You just hold out your hand with some seed in it, and some of the birds will be bold enough to land on your hand and take the seed. So in particular, the chickadees and the nuthatches do this quite a bit. Titmice and even downy woodpeckers will do it as well. So I was doing that, and this white-breasted nuthatch landed on my hand, so that's all perfectly normal. But then instead of just taking the seed and flying away, he just hung out on my hand. He just sat there for over 30 seconds, actually. I'm not even going to show the whole thing in the video because it's too long. But he just sat there on my hand, kind of frozen, just looking around, taking in the scenery. And then at the end, finally, he grabbed the seed and left. So this is much too close for my birding camera, so this was just taken with my phone. Last bird that I'm going to show in this episode is the American coot. Coots are actually kind of a specialty of Horn Pond because every winter we have a large flock that builds up and spends the whole winter, typically anywhere from 60 to 80 of them at its height. And so it's actually, at that time, it's the only place that you can see the coots in the areas here at Horn Pond. They're pretty scarce elsewhere. So they're going to start dispersing around the area to breed soon and disappearing, but got some video of them here. Okay, that's a wrap for this episode of My Little Big Year. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be back soon with episode 3.